so much for joining us on the program. This is Issues of the Moment, reaching you from the studio of Living Television Film Academy here in Aba. My name is Chimezie Ozems. Last Tuesday, we started a conversation on the Anambra State Governorship election that was held last Saturday, November 6, 2021. We couldn't complete the program because a supplementary election was held that very day at Ihala, local government area of Anambra State. This is the second and concluding part of our discussion on that Anambra State governorship election. At the end of this exercise, Professor Chukwu Masoludo of All Progressive Grand Alliance, APGA, emerged winner by polling 112,229 votes. Valentine Ozigo of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, got 53,807 votes, while the APC candidate, Senator Andy Oba, secured 43,285 votes. In this second part of our conversation, we are going to look into the area of security and factors responsible for low voter turnout. I have in the studio Mr. Chidi Ozazibike. Ms. Ozazibike is a legal practitioner. Thank you for joining me on the program.
Thank you, moderator. Welcome, viewers.
Thank you so much. Now, you followed what happened in Anambra last Saturday. And I'm sure that you are aware that before that very election, there were violent attacks and many people were killed. But on that very day, precisely November 6th, the guns went silent. What actually happened? Why was it able to have a peaceful conduct of that very election?
I believe that all stakeholders, everybody seemed to be on the same page that we needed to have peace. You saw powerful delegation. You see important personnel, people that are highly respected, even by the IPOB and other opposing party, people they respect, coming together, appealing people from religious circle, from Igbo leadership, from every angle. All voices came together to appeal to those who are opposing the election. And you saw there was a release for an official statement from them that they are not against the election and that the seat at home had been suspended. So that's kind of helped to create the atmosphere for the election to go. And because Anambra election was to be a test case, it was to be an indication of how 2023 was going to be. So everybody, including people who were praying, people gathered together in church to pray, to show how much everybody was inclined to have a peaceful election. And we are so glad that at the end of the day, the turnout was not a disappointment at all, because the number that we figure that we can see and the data, we never expected people will come out in that number. And my friends that I called in that place said people went about their normal duty, and there was relative sanity that created the conducive atmosphere for the election to hold. And everybody is glad, everybody is victorious, everybody won, because that election was successful, and we are glad.
Don't you think that Ndi would have occupied the southeast region, and in particular, Anambra people deserve commendation for what happened last Saturday?
Very much, very much. That's why the governor-elect publicly stated that it was victory for all. It was not an individual victory for him. So even the leadership of the nation has to be commended, because if there was any attempt to, any electoral malpractice that was going to change the tide, it would have brought in an unimaginable tension. But everybody seemed to be committed to ensure that template, which is Anambra election, was provided for 2023 election. And everybody should be recommended. Those who pray, those who, the security people who put their life on at risk, the INEC, the people that conducted the election, the candidate. We saw the candidate, they were not, there was that desperation was
yes.
not there. Somehow, most of them conducted themselves in a manner that is commendable. And we are all glad for it. We are all the best for it. Because it's an ill win. If it had happened the other day, where everybody would have suffered it.
Yes.
So we pray that such system, that such trend should continue all over the nation, so that the predictions of the people outside this world that said that we are going to be a failed nation will not come to pass in our time.
Okay, judging from what happened last Saturday, can it be said that the violent attacks and killings that have been below the southeast region is about to end? Is it the beginning of the end?
I see it as that the only thing that can happen now is gradual. You know, it's not going to be automatic, but there will be gradual there will be a gradual, anticlimax towards 2023, when we believe that things will return to normalcy, provided the people that are at the corridor of power do not do anything that will change the trend again.
Yes.
Like the action that happened during the Kano's trial was not a commendable thing. Anything is a very volatile situation like that ought to be managed so that we don't lose the gains that we have made. Let all hands be on deck to ensure that there is that anticlimax, that the thing continue to, instead of crescendo, rising, let us have a descent towards the peace, so that 2023 can be realistic. That's our prayer.
Anambra State was in the eye of the storm last Saturday because of that very election. And I'm sure that it would have been a different story if it was a general election. Now, can we have a staggered election to suit our democracy? Is it possible?
I believe that if the same commitment that we showed in Anambra election, if all stakeholders, if all citizenry, both the people in the corridor of power, the citizens, the religious organization, the business men and women, even the youths, if everybody is committed to peace and play their own part, we are sure and certain that 2023 will be a reality. And if we succeed in getting 2023 come to pass, I can assure you that Nigeria will be better for it if we get the right person. Because our problem has been leadership. Not that this nation does not have all the natural resources,
yes,
all that it takes to make our marks internationally, to be among the leading nations. It's there. God has given it to us. If we get a good leader who can manage crisis, who know how to, take this nation to the next level in Committee of Nations, we will surely and certainly sing our, lullaby as a nation.
Okay, I don't want us to digress from that very issue, but let me ask you this question. Is it possible to get it right in the area of leadership when we continue to recycle leaders from all sections of the country, from all geographical zones of the country? We keep on recycling leaders.
Well, that is the greatest challenge in Nigerian political sphere. We have not really decided to make a change. It's just the same 6 and half a dozen, the same people coming. Yes. Why? The reason is because the critical mass of people are poor. When people are poor, they are susceptible to manipulations. And when the electoral process is a matter of who has the cash,
yes,
then it becomes difficult. So this present Soludo is that won, Professor Soludo that won, had contested the election before. So if anybody who didn't have resources and didn't have people to provide resources will not be able to contest 2 elections even within the next 8 years, because all of them is a matter of capital, money. So I doubt if we are really, as a nation, ready to change the trend of our leadership, because the greater percentage of the people are poor. So those who have already made money, made the nation, will continue to come back because they have the monetary wherewithal to influence voters. I mean, you saw vote buying was there. Let's say the truth. So most of the poor people, even though there are also people who refuse to collect the money. So in so far as the greater percentage of people are within the below average $200 a month, I am afraid that we may not see a dramatic change in the economy of the nation until we decide to change and bring new young people, as former president had been saying, Obasanjo, that we need youths, people in the 40s, who have new ideas, people who have transversed the analog, have entered digital in their mental capacity.
So, the Anambra governor-elect, Professor Soludo, was a former governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, and also an economist. And you know that over the years he has been propounding economic theories. I remember when he said that 70% of graduates in Nigeria are unemployable because they are victims of poor education. Now, as a lawyer, you know that there is a thick line between governance and also having theories. Do you think that he will do better when you consider what politics is in Nigeria, how politics is played in Nigeria?
I believe that, in fact, in social media, I wrote something on that. I mean, people, better percentage of people believe that Professor Soludo will make an impact. Certainly, he may not have a magic wand to change the situation overnight, but he has this a background of coming out from a very poor background, you know, that same spirit that enabled him to wade through the storm, you know, has become what he was. That even in his start, he was already a professor. He had traveled over many nations of the world. He has consulted for United Nations, for nations economically. And if that kind of history, that kind of background is brought to bear on a state economy and leadership, there is no way that Anambra, I believe that we will hear a story of Anambra after 8 years. If he set the pace, then others will be bound to follow the trend. In fact, many of us believe that governorship is like a stepping stone for somebody like him. He's supposed to be a presidential material because he's an intercontinental personality. His intellectual capacity is beyond state matter.
Yes.
He should be dealing with continental African national issues, and he has grappled with them successfully to a commendable stage. So he was not even a typical politician. He was brought in as a technocrat in President Obasanjo's government. Not that he was not a card-carrying member, just like the former Minister for Finance. So people like that, if we can have men of that caliber, you know, removing the place of godfatherism into it, and they are allowed, given free hand to make a change, I assure you that this nation will be moving forward and making progress, unlike the very position where we are now, where people vote just because of party, because not because of
ethnicity,
not ethnicity, not because of capacity, competence, which is supposed to be number one, a requirement, merit. People who have the issue of managing the economy of a state or a nation is too complicated to be given to somebody who is just occupying the seat and like a barber shop and then swinging left and right depending on the wishes and caprices of those that are behind the corridor of power. People who can stand their own and provide solution to the myriad problems we have as a nation. Those people, God must give it to us as a nation. Otherwise, the people of the world will continue to laugh at us. Okay, at least we have started with Professor Soludo.
Okay.
Let's go further.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Oza Azubike. At this juncture, we are going to take a break. And when we come back, we will continue with the second leg of our discussion on the Anambra governorship election that was held last Saturday, November 6th. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the program. You are watching Issues of the Moment, and today we are taking a look at the Anambra governorship election that was held last Saturday. And my guest today on Issues of the Moment is Anambra-based lawyer, Mr. Chidi Ozazubike. And before we proceed, we are getting reports that the Anambra State Governor-elect, Professor Chukwu Soludo, has been issued with a certificate of return by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Now, Mr. Ozazubike, let us take a look into voter turnout. There was voter apathy and the voter turnout was very low. What do you consider to be the major factors responsible for the voter apathy experienced in Anambra election last Saturday?
In all honesty, some of us were even surprised with the number that came out.
Okay, it was high.
I mean, comparative to the fear that and the worry and the anxiety that was prevailing in the atmosphere. If you place it side by side with the number that came out, we will even say that they scored a high point.
Because it was encouraging.
Oh yes, because the level of with social media, facilities everywhere, people, even some people were traveling, wanting to move out of Anambra State before they were stopped by security. They were moving out. Vehicles in large numbers were coming in. Some were coming from Lagos to vote for a particular person. So that opposite of that confusion, that state of uncertainty was there, and that is why you expect that the turnout will not be. But the fact that they were able to meet up with the statutory percentage that was required satisfied the constitutional requirement. So it was expected. It's not just this election. Even 2023, Southeast will most likely still have that apathy because the greater percentage of the voting population are the youths. And through the power of media, don't joke with media, don't joke with radios and television. People have been hearing, people have been listening, and inundated, their whole mind have been saturated with threat of violence. Children cannot go to school, people sit at home, and well, under that atmosphere, nobody wants to risk his life. You know that on these days that we have sit at home, the markets open. I hear a market open, all those markets, but why is it that people don't go to their business?
Yes.
Because there is apprehension, not so much of interest in complying with the sit at home, but more of the apprehension to life, to security. See, people, nobody, because if anything happens to you, you're on your own. So that is why the turnout was low. But the important thing is that this state of emergency was not declared in Anambra, because if they didn't meet up with the requirement, the law would have been that once the tenure of the present governor expires,
yes,
the Speaker of House of Assembly will be sworn in
as governor,
acting governor. Before you know it, an administrator will be appointed by the president, and the state of emergency will be declared over the state, because political offices abhor vacuum. If you have vacuum, there will be problems.
Everything in life.
So all of that have been swept away by the fact that people came out, even if it is not the expected number. So it's always okay that they came out the number. Voter apathy is normal and will continue even in 2023. Southeast will take a lot of time. You still need to use the same, repeated routine mobilization through the media to be able to convince the people to come out from their cocoon. People are already disenchanted. People are worried they are afraid of their life. Personally, I told my wife, even the day they said go to school, I made sure that my children didn't go to school until I was sure, very sure, that the atmosphere was conducive, because nobody wants to hear any injury or even death. That's why we had voter apathy. But it's now history that that hurdle was crossed, and Anambra today can beat their hand on their chest that they have a governor-elect, and we are very happy, we are very glad. I'm not from Anambra State, but I know that the Igbo man says that a bush fowl that sees somebody slaughter
yes,
chicken should know that in the same manner he will be slaughtered. So I knew if they didn't scale through successfully, it will affect my own state also in Southeast. But there is hope now at the end of tunnel that there will be sanity, whatever the situation is. If they are going to be structuring whatever, but at least until we have in the new. Let us manage what we have and have peace to live our life. Go to school, go to market, cost your bread, and every person will be moving freely until we get that which we want. If we don't get it, okay. If we get it, okay.
Okay, still talking about low voter turnout. How can we restore the confidence of our people in the electoral process? How can we tell them, look, you have to participate when you consider what happened in Anambra? And in this case, don't you think that INEC and the political parties have a role to play?
Sure. In all honesty, even the Anambra election, to the best of my knowledge, there was not enough voter education. The solution is the use of the media.
Yes.
Honestly speaking, in the modern system, you cannot throw away. The media is at the hub upon which everything revolves. They should invest money in advertising, in town hall meetings,
creating awareness,
right, left, and center, using Facebook, using all the. Except you do that, it will be difficult because the same number of input that was made is garbage in, garbage out. That was meant to shift people to the corner. The same system should be used to roll back and bring them out from their cocoon. So if you don't use the media, there should be the fact that there used to be a mobilization of the government agency for MAMSA, all of that. Why don't we hear their jingles again? Why can't they have meetings, town hall meetings, go from place to place? Like as a lawyer, people should have come to an MBA and spoken to us, brainstormed with us, with doctors, people who have people under their congregation,
yes,
church leaders from all nook and cranny. And when it is done, then you can be sure that people will have faith. But the greatest, apart from the media, is let those who are governing justify, let the people see that voting, when you vote somebody, your vote will count. Let us also see the infrastructure, the dividend of democracy. Once you have dividend of democracy, people will know, oh, if I go and vote, then I can determine who goes there. And when the person is there, he will remember me. But if you get to that place and you go to, amass wealth and prepare for incoming generations of your great-grandchildren, and we see it, it's not hidden. You become a local government chairman, you become a member of House of Assembly, and we see houses everywhere. We know some of our colleagues who never moved one motion of notice in court. Maybe the moment they entered into politics, they can even employ senior advocates as staff, because politics seems to be the place of wealth acquisition.
It's very lucrative.
So when the average youth, which constitutes the greater percentage of the voting power population, see that politics is an opportunity to grab money, then the people will be disenchanted. No, if I send him there, he will go there to collect the money. So people will not be, people will be apathetic. They will prefer to sit in their home. In fact, especially in this commercial area like Wanichaba, if you don't close the market, you'll be surprised that people will not even go to vote. Some of us make sure we vote. We stay there as citizens, as enlightened people. But here, a voting pattern is not like your advanced countries, where people are knowledgeable and they vote, they know the candidate, they study the pedigree, they study the background, and they vote without any influence. Here, all you need to win is to belong to the relevant party. And then the party that has the largest structure. Structure is not created overnight. I'm telling you, that's why somebody like Dr. Maduka in Anambra, who is a very wonderful candidate, very frank, study is very good. But as long as we are not in a party that has structure is not built overnight. In that world, he has been having meetings. A political leader visits, as you saw them happen last time in Abia. They hire bosses, eat together, dine together. you know, continue to relate and interact over years. So during the time of election, it is the same group of people that have been interacting and relating that will go to conduct the election and influence the election. So if you just come overnight, you can't destroy the existing structure. That's why you see any party that owns a state will continue to rule in that state. A governor will migrate, you see, before you know it, PDP in Benue is now in Benue. After the election, you see PDP that won, but he came on the platform of APC, because that same structure will just move, you know, completely to the other party. So our election, our citizenry are not politically enlightened to take individual decision. We follow the trend. As I am now, I tell my grandmother at home.
It's like a bandwagon.
Yes, what to do. They'll ask you, where do we go? Where do you want us to go? I'll tell them, this is where we go, this is where we go. Because I will come home, buy rice, buy things for them. They want to follow me wherever I'm going. They don't have the facility to test any candidate on his competence and capacity. So it just have to happen because of the level of our society, enlightenment as a society.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chidoz Azubuike. But before we draw the curtain on today's edition of the program, let me ask you this question, and I want to appeal that you be as brief as possible. Let us talk about the women that rejected 5,000 naira given to them by one of the candidates. In fact, that video went viral on social media, and today, the governor of Anambra State, Chief Willie Obiano, has rewarded that woman with 1 million naira. Don't you think that this is very good for our democracy, and that woman is the hero of Anambra governorship election?
That is a commendable, that is a very, very, that woman is an icon. Should be, that kind of human being should be replicated everywhere, because she has shown that her conscience cannot be purchased with money. We should have the same kind of people in every sphere of our life. We should have them even in judiciary. There is no amount of money you offer a person that has conscience and swear him or her to one left or right. Such people, we need more of it. That woman, honestly speaking, she should be given an award, National Merit Award. Not this one that you are giving to every Tom and Harry. The presidency should give her the Merit Award in the next award that we will give to the nation, so that it can teach younger ones to follow trend. That money is not everything. People should be satisfied with what they have. But the truth is that if you work hard, you don't need to be very rich to be comfortable.
Yes.
And you live your life and have hope of eternity. After all that we have done here, what is most important is you are going to give account before God of what you did because of a piece of paper called money.
Okay. And with that, we have come to the end of today's edition of our program, Issues of the Moment. My guest has been Mr. Chidoz Azubuike, an Aba-based lawyer. And for the past 30 minutes, we have been discussing the Anambra State governorship election, which took place last Saturday. Mr. Azubuike, it's a pleasure having you on our program.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bertrand.
And my name is Chimezia Ozems. I want to thank you for watching. Join us on another day of Issues of the Moment.